blood! Of hate! Into dust! We will blot out the sun! Cannot!
Hello, and welcome to the Explosive Shot Mercenary. Bada boom! Or the Reloading Mercenary, whatever. Let's look at the abilities really quick. So we have Explosive Shot here. Boom. We use Fire and Fusion for extra damage. Heft for more physical damage. Though we use Avatar of Fire, this still works and gives us more damage. We use Scatter Shot, so we shoot 3 times in a row in one load, and we use Primal Armament for more elemental damage. If we had another socket, we would just use auto reload to clear packs faster, so when we stun enemies we instantly get our bolt back, so we can just endlessly shoot. And for bosses I would just swap in Conquerfed. Next thing we use is Explosive Grenade, so we drop grenades and we blow them up. This is helpful if you want to prepare some burst versus like enemies that are covered in crystals or enemies that spawn in. It's also good versus bosses. You can stun them faster and deal a lot of burst damage. So we use Long Fuse for more damage, attack speed so we can get them out faster in between our explosive shots. Elemental Focus for more damage, and Immolate for even more damage, but we can no longer ignite, which is not that important because we can just ignite stuff with 3 explosive shots, so we deal extra damage with these. Then we use Emergency Reload, so let's use this, we pop this, bam, we have 2 more bolts, they are yellow now, the number is yellow, and we deal more damage as long as this thing is up. Boom, boom, and yeah, we get more damage from this, reduce cooldown here, and a little bit more skill effect duration, so we don't waste it. We also use All Grenade. It reduces enemy like fire resistance via exposure and a little bit more exposure effect. Though I think this one is a little bit overkill already because we have a lot of fire pen in this build by default. We use Second Wind, so we have more stacks of it and a little bit more slowing debuff. We also use the Ballista because it gives us a little bit of life regen, and we also get Rage with the Font of Rage support gem, and we have faster summoning, so we can like get this thing out instantly. And yeah, this is pretty cool. If you meet like a crystallized opponent, you can quickly drop this thing, drop a few grenades, and then awaken the enemy and blow them up, and you get 30% bonus damage from this one, so that's pretty nice. It's also cool in boss fights. When a boss is almost stunned, you drop it, drop a few grenades, and then you stun the boss and then drop a few more grenades and you can burst. So that's a nice little tool. It's a little bit squishy, but if you place it at a good spot and be a little bit more careful and stay in its range, you can get a nice chunk of bonus damage. So for auras and these things, we use Wind Dancer for more evasion. When we get attacked in melee, it knocks enemies back. We added like more ignite. Enemies can explode when they're ignited and they're killed for like 1 damage or so. And a bit of fire exposure. So I tried pinning, and pinning doesn't seem to work because it's not physical damage anymore, but fire damage because of Avatar of Fire, so we use these instead. Attrition, so we deal a little bit more deeps versus bosses, it's crappy when you have bosses that teleport in and out. But if you have bosses that stay in your range constantly, this one helps a lot with your kill speed. And I dropped Herald of Fire because it wasn't really doing a lot of stuff. So I'm using Overwhelming Presence so we can inflict Ignite more often, and we can stun enemies more often, which increases our survivability a little bit. So yeah, that's basically the abilities. Items, so we use this Diet Crossbow because it loads 2 bolts instead of 1, and your abilities cost mana when you load the bolt, not when you shoot. So this basically cuts your mana costs in half, more or less. With a normal crossbow, we would have massive mana issues after some time, and this one alleviates that a little bit. And on my offhand, I use a bombard crossbow that shoots a second grenade projectile, and we weapon swap when we use grenades, so we get a little bit more advantage out of this. And the rest of the gear is pretty much just, yeah, fixing resistance and getting as much health as possible. Gloves have attack speed, boots have movement speed. And if you can, yeah, fix your chaos res, and if you can, get some attributes on your items as well, so you can refund, like this one has dex, so I can refund some dex from the skill tree and replace it with more strength, so I have more health. And yeah, this chest piece is from my ranger. It has armor that, yeah, I don't really need it that much, but it's a decent one, and it's got spirit and fixes my resist, so I'm still running with this. And yeah, that's basically the items. So let's have a look at the skill tree. So these are my 4 ascendancy points. I'm missing the rest because I can't be asked to suffer through these insufferable trials and that crap. Maybe I'm gonna do them this afternoon, I don't know, but I would probably either go, well, I wouldn't go with Weapon Master because we don't need that many swap points. We could go with this for more elemental damage protection, but I would probably go with like the Culling Strike stuff. You can also pick Zealous Inquisition, gives you a little bit more clear speed, is also nice to have, but I actually went with Witchbane at No Mercy, so we deal more damage after a few hits. And since we have like the grenades and explosive shot, so we have so many sources of multiple hits, so the first few hits remove concentration and the last few bits then deal full damage. So this one is actually probably the best in my opinion. So this is how the skill tree looks. Yeah, so we start with projectile damage, pick a little bit of evasion here, and yeah, battle hardened is awesome because it reduces crit damage. We also pick this one, so our potion heals faster, and we get a little bit of, yeah, neglectable amount of life regen, but it's better than nothing. Some area of effect that's really helpful, and yeah, cooldown recovery helps with our grenades, more damage here. Attributes here, and here we pick the extra grenade projectile for our weapon swap, for our offhand, and for the main hand we grab these projectile nodes instead. Here we get crossbow reload speed because we need a lot of that, otherwise the character feels super slow and sluggish. We also have a jewel with crossbow reload speed here. Some elemental damage, chance to ignite, elemental pen here, other jewel here with area effect and some fire pen. Here we pick more evasion, more elemental damage here and there, and some fake physic damage reduction that actually does something. Yay! Some more evasion over there. Down here we have another jewel, also area effect. Now weapon swap speed helps, I suppose, and some ignite chance. And here we pick the attack speed stuff and the blinding stuff. Then we go down into more crossbow damage and a little bit more reload speed. I also pick these attribute nodes at the last few levels, so I can refund more of my dexterity and replace it with more strength. So this is why I get like a decent amount of strength on this character. Sorry, health, not strength. I meant health on this character. And here we pick all the AoE nodes and a little bit of area damage. Here we get some armor break. That is something we don't need, but we get some decent amount of damage out of these 2 nodes, 8 and 25. We pick another 12 here, so we can get the jewel. So we get, yeah, fire damage and area of effect in this one. Also, some of these have knockback distance. That helps a teeny tiny little bit sometimes. And here we get more fire res and more fire pen and, yeah, more ignite stuff and damage against ignited. Then we move up here. We have a crappy jewel here, but at least it gives us mana regen and 10% area of effect. We waste a few points, but at least we get another jewel. This time with crossbow reload speed and some damage. And we get Avatar of Fire here, so we convert our damage to fire, but we lose a little bit of damage if it's not fire damage. But we get more penetration over here, and yes, heavy stun inflicts fire exposure, and yeah, some more ignite and damage against ignited enemies. And yeah, that's basically the skill tree. When it comes to anointing your amulet, I picked this one because it's really cheap. It's just, yeah, Paranoia, Greed and Ire, and it's 10% AoE and AoE damage. This one over here is basically the same, just a little bit better. So if you have the monies, pick that one. Or another good one, I think, is over there. Acceleration, so you get movement speed and 10% skill speed, so basically attack speed. I don't know if that one counts towards reload speed or not. That's true, that would be awesome. Otherwise it's like, yeah, 10% speed is nice. And if you have the monies, you could also get Burning Strikes, but it has isolation, so that one's really expensive. I tested this on my warrior, so it says 12% of physical damage is extra fire damage, but Avatar of Fire says, yeah, you deal no non-fire damage. So I tested this on my warrior, dragged into Avatar of Fire, checked my DPS, put a point into this one, and it increased the DPS. So I assume that happens before the conversion or whatever, but if you pick this, it will increase your damage by 12% on top. So if you have the monies, grab this one. This one's really awesome and increases your deeps by a big chunk. There we go. That's the guide. So if you like it, give it a try if you want. It's a little bit different than the average grenade build, I suppose. Anyways, have a nice one. Bye bye.